Jason Miller. Jason, it's obviously one big joke to Colbert and his team, but do you think it really is that funny? The January 6th prisoners don't seem to be laughing.
No, don't think that it's funny at all. But this, of course, is what someone like Stephen Colbert and his absolutely plunging ratings of a network, CBS, would go and try to do. And just the fact that they think this would be something to go and jump onto, and let's go and try to make light of this situation or highlight the disparity between what's happening with the January 6 people who are still imprisoned, many of them unlawfully and unfairly, in my opinion, versus his crew. I mean, if anything, if they were going to be arrested or detained for anything, I think it'd be for being offensively unfunny.
The timing of this, too, Jason, is so ironic. I mean, here it is, the January 6 hearings, and this happens, and the Democrats are like, okay, let's not talk about that, but let's talk about those who breached the Capitol on January 6. The timing is unbelievable.
Yeah, no, and especially doing it right around now when they're having all of these hearings with the Democrats on Capitol Hill, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger. But I repeat myself, I think it really shows just poor taste from the Colbert folks in the first place.
Let's talk about also Adam Schiff, because he claims, once again, it's like Groundhog Day, Jason, to have bombshell new evidence against President Trump. Take a listen to him.
Just to be clear, you said you have evidence that the then president was involved in putting a fake slate of electors out there. Do you have evidence that he directed it?
I don't want to get ahead of our hearing. We'll show during our hearing what the president's role was in trying to get states to name alternate slates of electors, how that scheme depended initially on hopes that the legislatures would reconvene and bless it.
Jason, why do Democrats keep putting him out there to lead these investigations? After all, the Russia hoax, it's like he's lost all credibility, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. After the Russia, and then the second impeachment. But let's not forget, Adam Shifty Schiff was the one who went out there and said that it was Russian disinformation that was the reality about Hunter Biden's laptop. No. Hunter Biden's laptop was Hunter Biden's laptop. But Schiff went out there and said media, social media platforms, do not cover this, do not talk about it. It's all Russian disinformation. This man has zero credibility. And really, I mean, better luck on finding something good in Al Capone's vault than having Adam Schiff deliver any results of some gotcha leading up to President Trump.
That's a very good analogy, Jason. And certainly you know a lot also about social media. I want to switch gears and talk about leaked audio from 80 internal TikTok meetings that shows that U.S. user data has been repeatedly accessed from China. President Trump was talking about this so much, that he banned TikTok. Remember all of that. Was he right again? And what does this mean about what they're trying to really do by getting this information, Jace?
Yeah, and Rita, there's a really important thing that I think many of the news stories missed here is this isn't just simply about the Chinese getting access to email addresses or the Chinese getting information with regard to cell phones, kind of the customary user data that we normally associate with these types of breaches or hacks, which essentially is a foreign government breach when you talk about it, the fact it's being shared against users' permission. Rita, here's the key thing, though. What it's about are being able to put together these psychographic profiles of American users. So, for example, if you're a 12 or 13-year-old American child, by the time that you're 18, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is going to know everything about your attitudes, your preferences, your consumer habits, your thoughts on foreign nations, on foreign affairs. They're going to know everything about you. What a lot of people don't realize is that most brand loyalty really starts to develop in around that 12, 13-year-old range. Yep. So the products that people buy later on are connected to that. The Chinese are then getting that information so they can then use it against the United States later on in life. They will know more about the people of this next generation than we will as Americans. That's scary.
That is really scary. Jason, thank you very much. Very eye-opening, my friend.